In the heart of the savanna, where the earth thrummed with secrets older than stone, stood a baobab tree that time itself seemed to revere. Its gnarled branches reached for the heavens, and its trunk, vast as a village square, bore scars of countless seasons. The locals called it the whispering baobab, for when the wind danced through its leaves, it spoke, not in words, but in murmurs that stirred the soul. Dreams, riddles, and shadows of truths long forgotten spilled from its boughs, heard only by those who dared to listen. For centuries, the baobab had been a sentinel, its roots sinking deep into the earth's hidden veins. Elders wove tales of its birth, a seed carried on a comet's tail, blessed by spirits who stitched time into its bark. Children played games of courage, daring each other to touch its rough hide at dusk, their laughter faltering as the air grew heavy with an unseen presence. But only the brave or the desperate lingered long enough to hear its whispers, for the tree was no mere witness to history. It was a keeper of bargains, offering miracles to those willing to pay its price. Aminata was both brave and desperate, a young healer with eyes like polished obsidian. She carried her village's hopes on shoulders too young for such weight. The land was dying. Drought had split the earth, turning rivers to dust and fields to ash. Sickness followed, stealing breath from the old and the young alike. The remedies of her ancestors, passed down through generations, crumbled in her hands, their herbs as lifeless as the cracked soil. The village looked to her, their faith a heavier burden than their fear. In the quiet of her hut, Aminata wrestled with despair. The elders spoke of the baobab, their voices low with warning. It gives, but it takes. Ask only what you can afford to lose. She had heard the stories, tales of those who sought the tree's aid and returned change, if they returned at all. Yet the faces of the dying haunted her, children too weak to cry, elders fading like embers. With no other path left, she resolved to face the tree, her heart a tangle of hope and dread. Under a moonless sky, Aminata approached the baobab, her bare feet sinking into the cool earth. The air buzzed, not with sound but with feeling, ancient, heavy, alive. She pressed her palms against the bark, and the world fell silent, as if the stars themselves held their breath. Then a whisper curled into her mind, seeping through her bones. "Will you seek, child of dust?" Her voice trembled, but she spoke true. Life for my people, rain for the land, healing for the sick. The baobab's branches creaked, though no wind stirred. Life demands life. Give me a secret, one you guard with your soul, and I will give you what you seek. Aminata's heart faltered. She thought of her mother's last words, spoken in fevered delirium, a confession of betrayal that had shattered their family. It was a truth Aminata had buried deep, a wound she guarded even from herself. To speak it would unravel her, expose her shame to the village. But the weight of her people's suffering pressed harder than her fear. She had no choice. Tears stung her eyes as Aminata whispered her mother's secret to the tree, each word a blade in her chest. The baobab drank her pain, its roots trembling beneath the soil. A low rumble shook the ground, and the sky tore open. Rain fell in torrents, the first in years, soaking the parched earth. From the tree's hollow, a sap oozed, glowing faintly under the starlight. Aminata gathered it, her hand shaking, knowing it was the cure she had sought. She returned to the village, the sap working miracles. The sick rose from their mats, their laughter mingling with the patter of rain. Crops stirred in the fields, green shoots piercing the cracked soil. The village was saved, and Aminata's name was spoken with reverence. But the baobab's price was not yet fully paid. Days after the rains came, whispers spread to the village, not from Aminata, but from the wind itself. Her mother's secret, the one she had given to the tree, reached every ear. Eyes turned away from her, murmurs followed her steps. The village hailed her as their savior, but their gratitude was laced with judgment. She had given them life, but at a cost that marked her as an outsider in the place she had fought to save. Aminata withdrew, her heart a storm of pride and pain. She had faced the baobab and won, but victory tasted of ash. The tree stood silent now, its whispers quiet for a time, waiting for the next soul bold enough to ask. Some say it still speaks, late at night, to those who listen closely. It offers miracles, but its price is always steep. A truth, a memory, a piece of your soul. Years passed, and Aminata became a legend, her name spoken with awe and pity. The Baobab remained, its roots deeper, its presence heavier. Travelers came, drawn by tales of the tree that could grant wishes, but few dared to linger. Those who did return changed, their eyes holding stories they could not share. The whispering Baobab stands still. Patience time, its hunger deeper than the earth itself. Dare you approach it? What secret would you offer? And what would you ask in return? The tree waits, its whispers ready to weave another soul into its endless tale.